Yes, it's my real name. I was raised by a Pentecostal preacher from Mississippi in Portland, Oregon, which probably explains a lot. I wrote and performed my first song for my dad's church when I was just 10. Been a soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Been married, divorced, closeted, out, drunk for years, and sober for years. Been a good dad and a bad dad, and somehow lucky enough to be a young grandpa. This show exists because I'm a creator, and if something inspires me, there's a pretty good chance it'll inspire you too. Music, science, art, politics, religion, adorable cats and dogs, awe and gratitude, or why we laugh at our own farts. Somehow along the way, I decided to go left instead of right, and now I'm addicted to breaking habits and noticing things. I'm Buddy Raspberry, and this is my show.
Woke up and decided I would deviate.
Good. Glad you like it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And we are live. Welcome to the Buddy Raspberry Show. My name is Buddy Raspberry, and as I said in the little intro that I made there, yes, it is my real name. And this is my guest, Jess Brown. Yes, it is her real name.
It is.
How are you today, Jess?
I'm alive, and that's important.
That's a scary proposition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about you? How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I had one of those mornings on my walk with my dog that I think I was led to the right place, right time, right person. I was in the fields at a school across the street and was totally eavesdropping on this conversation that I started being able to hear between, I don't even know if it's an aunt and a nephew or just two friends or whatever, but it was a like 17, 18-year-old kid, maybe 19. It's hard to gauge these days, talking about how he went to this Jesus march and saw this like super like well-known dude who used to be this gangbanger, all this stuff, and then like found Jesus, and then like is doing this whole like, yo, I used to be an ex druggie, ex banger, and this is what's up, and this, that, and the
Right.
other. And I was just listening to this kid just really gush about the admiration he had for the guy, and absolutely was like, man, and like he used to bang like I used to bang, and I kind of like did a little side eye, and I'm like, okay, how old is this kid? And he's like, he used to do drugs like I used to do drugs, and I'm like, okay, all right. And I'm starting to catch the vibe. I'm like, man, it sounds like my brother a little bit, and I let him finish talking about how he was like, admiring how the guy, like his story involves like starting in the East Coast, coming all the way over here and like stopping the whole way, like preaching the gospel and just super like
Yeah.
gung ho. And it was cool. And I was not even like remotely interested in harshing anyone's mellow. And so I didn't, but at the same time, like I felt like I was literally getting pushed from behind. And so I kind of moseyed over to the fence and I was like, couldn't help it over here. Just couldn't. And I'm sorry, but like I totally believe in serendipity and synchronicity. And I just wanted to share something. My dad used to be the pastor of the church and I just kind of like give the backstory. Like I'm a PK. Dad used to be a pastor down the street, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so important to find people that we can fellowship with and people we can hang around and have good influences. But I would not be able to walk away from having heard this conversation if I didn't make sure to let you know that you were born with everything you already need inside you, and you've got the power, and you do not need anything other than what you've already got, and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, I love good old fellowship. Don't get me wrong. Like, always eat the meat and spit out the bones, but just always know that you definitely do not need to pay more for what's already been given to you by birthright in your inheritance, right? And I was just like, just know that, everyone like, and I did the thing where I was like, 1 + 1 = 2. And so just so you know, and he talked about having gone to an altar call at this Jesus march that he went to. I was like, that experience was real, dude. Just know you had a real experience. You absolutely felt what you felt 100%. And then I told him about the old pastor who was like, but just know that this is one way to look at it. Like blah, blah, blah. Your sign doesn't tell me who you are. It tells me where you stopped. Just don't ever put your flag in the ground. Just keep learning. Just know that you don't have to pay for what's already free. And one thing that religion's really good at is they're really good at putting a price tag on something that's already free. And I kind of
How?
gave my spiel, but like I did it in a way
Yeah.
that was like super catered for like young dude, and it felt really good, and I was happy about it. And hell, he's probably gonna see this video at some point because I gave him my and he knows how to find me now and all that stuff. So little dude, if you're out there and you see this video, chin up and definitely know that I'll probably see you either tomorrow or the day after, because one of the things he made sure was like, hey, you come here often? Yeah, I do. Cool, man. I'd be down to talk. You bet, bro. So who knows? My first little,
Wow.
my first little emissary.
You had you had a missionary moment,
I
but not
did, but
for a
like,
church.
right? It was so interesting because I'm
For
listening
for
to
something
him.
else.
Well, and I'm
Yeah.
listening to how like his moment with this guy, his missionary moment went, and how he felt
Hmm.
about it. And I was just like having this like my skin was crawling as I was like hearing the sounds of like Christianity's talons like reaching into
Right.
this young man's mind and like giving him what he needs because that's how desperate he is for connection and stuff. And I was like, well, I can't just take that away because that's going to keep him off the streets. But how can I bring something else to the conversation where it's like, look, cool, but just know you're God too. like I was
Right.
like, I was like, you can lay hands on people and pray for them, no matter if you say in Jesus, Buddha, and then I gave them the story about the lady who heard only Tuesday, Wednesday after having gone to the. Did I tell you that story?
Yeah, we talked
Yeah,
about it on the last
the
podcast.
Tuesday
Yeah.
Wednesday thing. Yeah. So if you guys want to catch up on some bad audio, the last podcast had really bad audio. But it is in there. Basically, what it boils down to is it doesn't matter if you're actually saying the actual words in the spell, or if you forgot all of them and all you can remember is Tuesday, Wednesday. It's where the sincerity is. That's where the quantum reaches in and meets us, where our vibration is, not what the actual like language is and stuff. So anyway, that was, yeah, it was a fun little kind
Wow.
of designated morning insofar as like I used to get moments like that a lot more often, and it kind of
Huh.
brought out the old like kind of youth minister in me a little bit from the old days, and
Right.
I was like, how can we shape this around, because it reminded me too like a lot of the gather stuff that I want to do by default just kind of like caters towards like, I would say just adults that kind of already know that they're looking for the thing and stuff. And I was like, oh, how do we do the youth group version of this? Like, how do we actually like make sure to reach down and like really, really, do the youth outreach part of it. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was a moment that just kind of checked off a few interesting boxes that hadn't been checked in a long time. And
That's actually really fascinating,
it was fun.
because what you did is like you diverted the stream, right, in another direction. You were just like, yes,
Yeah.
this and
And
right, and this too, and I mean, I've been proselytized at a lot, right, by a lot of different kind of people, but there's not too many people who go around actively advocating for freedom of spirituality,
right. And it
you
certainly
know?
wasn't on my agenda, but I do see I felt the difference walking away because I've done the knocking on doors before and I've done the outreach part of it, and in that like there's always something you feel like that you are also supposed to get out of it. It's just like being a salesperson where it's like you want to see the return on the numbers, like you want to see them showing up. You want to see like, whereas this one
Your
where I was just
counter
like,
for saving souls.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. Like, the guy at the front door just clicking as each person walks in, right? But also like I distinctly felt the difference when it was like I don't need anything from this encounter other than to know that I at least said what I needed to say, and that hopefully that's just gonna like, because even when you're just like trying to tell someone about the good news of Jesus Christ or something like that or whatever it is, like you still feel compelled in that moment to like want to pray with them. You want to see something in their eyes shift. You really want to feel like that you saved their soul and all that stuff. And it's just like you need the reciprocal. And this, I was like, this is different. This felt different, but it felt so similar at the
Well,
same time. And I was just like, oh, how weird.
because it was different, right? Like I'm sorry, you're getting me really excited here. You're
Good.
using the same mechanisms, right? Of
Hmm.
like that the church uses, and that religion has used that sort of tugging on the need to belong, like the acknowledgement, the idea of like struggle that ends in glory,
Yeah.
essentially, right? Like we have struggled hard, we have sacrificed, and now we have achieved. You're using those same things, but you're doing it in a way that actually empowers people instead of trapping them in the box that you and I know so well
Yeah.
is like a prison we had to get out of,
Yeah.
right? So it's just
It was
that's
cool.
really
Yeah,
fascinating.
it was
Yeah.
it was a drop in the bucket. It was like a little, like, okay, all
Yeah.
right, yep, little wink, little nudge, and I
Hmm.
feel like that I might have saved someone some heartache, hopefully. But again, he actually was excited to find out that it's a spot that I regularly go to with my dog. So we'll see how it goes in. I'm like, he could be the first one to reach out and start bringing people to some of our meetings. Our our
For sure.
our
You're
very, very,
gathering.
very not starting a cult gatherings of
the
like-minded
the cult
people.
of freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So that was my morning.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's good. Yeah.
I
I've just been, yeah, mostly working. So I've got nothing fun to report in that way. But
what's the latest from the stream from the front lines?
oh man, I
How
think
are people out there?
it's pretty rough, I think, for a lot of people. I I found myself being the agent of consequences a
Mm.
lot, right? This last couple of weeks, like not particularly of my own actions, but like other people's, like it was like we said, okay, if you do this thing, then this will happen, right? And then they did the thing, and then X happened, and then
Yeah.
they're all mad because X happened, and it's sort of like I did none of this. It's
Yeah.
like, but I'm dealing
It's
with
not
it,
fair to
you
have to be the
know.
disciplinary. It's never fun.
Well, I guess maybe that's it. I just, yeah, yeah. So, I'm also on my like 20th day in a row without
Oh,
a
that's
break.
disgusting.
So I have hit the wall, like in all ways. So, and I realized something very interesting about myself at this point, because it's very much like having a newborn, right? Like when you're the only person who's kind of in the situation, the only leader left to kind of steer the ship in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure people don't know, but I lost half my leadership team in one day. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like a trap door, right? And I'm the only one there still being like, no, guys, this is still what we're doing. We're a
Yeah.
real business, I swear,
Yeah.
right?
Been
So
there.
what I realized about myself, and I thought that was really interesting, is that at my core, I am just rage. I am a fighter, right? Like I will, if you back me into a corner, I will fight my way out of it. Like at the base is rage, and everything else builds above that. It's like that moment in the Hulk when he was like, how do you, how do you keep from getting angry? And he's like, nah, I'm always angry. Like,
It's just always right there underneath the
it's
surface,
just
ready to be tapped
always
into.
right there.
Gosh, I
Well,
feel
but
that.
and like, yeah, I mean,
Lately, at least,
it's
more
a
than ever.
very, I think a lot of people do. I mean, a lot of people, I know a lot of women my age are going through, perimenopause, and like some are in menopause, and, there's no ideas, or nobody really talks to you about that phase of life or the change that happens. And nobody really talks to you about what it's like when you have full agency over yourself and your body, and an undying volcano of rage at the system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
like this feels like a new moment in
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
right? Like very much in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. My God.
So, it's like, and I'm not, even though I feel those feelings, I do my best to sort of not spill them out into the world and like channel that energy in different ways. Um, and kind of an alchemical process almost. But I just really had to come to grips this week with what my basic fuel is, right? It's just a like a bad and like maybe that comes from I don't know where that comes from. I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to find out, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely something where when we get stripped down to like the base of who we are, we have, like this opportunity. I was just posting about because it is similar to rock bottom, but without like the loss of function, without all the addiction and all the crap, right? Like,
Right, with
but
less
at
of
the
this
same
the
time, you
circumstances.
do very much
Yeah.
get brought to your base minimum, and um like the beautiful thing about that is that you're not only just like a blank canvas again, but you're like the components of what makes a canvas again, and you can decide if you want to be a triangle canvas instead of a square canvas or something, and like one of the things that was
Right.
such a blessing with the curse of how far I had let certain parts of the alcoholism go. Like I was full. I just posted this today too. The word I used was properly pickled. I was properly pickled when I was at the end of
Mm.
it and at the rock bottom, and to the point where I had developed a stutter. My hands were so shaky I couldn't write anymore. I was total wet brain, no equilibrium. So I had to relearn literally how to walk and talk and write. But then I was like,
Yeah.
well, shit, while I'm at it, I might as well like learn how to dance, and I might as well like craft my cursive in ways that I like always wanted to. And then I might as well, like really work on my diction. And so like I doubled down on all the things that I wanted to actually learn how to do because I was at a place where I was like, I didn't have any programming left. Like there was no pre-programming left. Like there was no agenda. There was no anything. My whole agenda at life at that particular point was breathe in and breathe out. Like
Right.
we were brought down to fundamentals of function. And I think
Mm.
sometimes, like in those ways when we hit the wall, well, I don't even want to sound speculative about it. I'm 44. I've done it enough. Like when we hit the wall like that, those are those moments where I'm just like, God damn, what am I doing here? And we know that,
Right.
and I think so many opportunities to take the off ramp are missed, of course, because we know we're on the hamster wheel and we know we have to do our thing and we have to do our part, and the comfort of the hell that we know versus the heaven that we don't and all that stuff. I mean, it's so funny how our own anxiety keeps us stuck in our own anxiety because it's so scared of not feeling anxiety. It's
Well, yeah,
like,
you're talking about being trapped in the loop,
yeah.
right? You're talking about, like the thing. And I mean, yeah, that's very true. And you're right. I have
But
the
hitting the
ability to,
wall
yeah,
is the only way to break the loop sometimes, right?
that's right. Right.
Because
Absolutely.
if everything's going hunky dory, well then the loop's gonna just keep looping, you know.
Looping. It looped. Yep.
But it's like when when that trap door does open, and literally it's like you're the only one standing on the boat, and you're like, okay, well I know I'm a sailor, I know this is like my boat, I know I'm supposed to have
Yeah.
a whole crew here.
Right. This
Maybe I
is
want to
it's
be
a
a
big
mermaid.
boat. It needs a lot of people to run it. Like it's not a one man. I can't
Yeah.
just like paddle by myself and make it work. It's like it has to be more than me. And I would say for the most part, I've been doing pretty good at, just trying to be that person, but this ideal version of who a leader should be, I guess, in my
Mm-hmm.
head, calm, steady, like answers questions, like de-escalates the tension in the room, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't really need to get that worked up about it. But the downside of displaying those qualities is that when I lose my shit, the entire thing is rocked.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I so know that one. I know that one so well because literally there was two buddies that existed at one point for my crew. There was like the most amazing buddy in the world, and then there was just like the like who was that? Oh my God. And I'm just like, look, guys, we're allowed to have bad days. Like, we're allowed to have the days where like we can express our feelings, we can be human. We, you know, but
Right.
it's just like,
Yeah.
that's the price we pay for setting ourselves up by wanting to be that perfect example of leadership. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Right. Because, like, the whole point is that we're doing our best, right? Which doesn't mean that we're perfect, and it doesn't mean that we're always right. Like, that's why I keep trying to say to everyone, hey, it's okay. You're doing your best, right?
yeah,
Like, you didn't maliciously, drop the thing on the,
yeah,
it's like we're doing our best here.
yeah,
Like, it's okay.
yeah.
But when it comes to myself, right? Like, even though I remind myself that I'm doing my best,
You're
like
doing your best. You're not
I
only doing your best, you're doing exceptionally well.
see that I never hear that, right? Like,
Right?
so I don't know to step it back,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Like,
tough when we have to seek out our own affirmations. That is just
yeah,
one of the most. Thank God for the internet, though, a little bit. I mean, to be honest, because even if it's just a total random stranger, you can post something these days. I mean, the affirmations are super powerful. They really are.
yeah, that's
And
so true. Well, but that's the other thing that happened to me this week, or not happened to me, but happened this week, I suppose. Can I tell you about
well,
it?
please, we need fodder for conversation. I mean, we're just having like
Okay,
such
fantastic.
average
We're just
banter right
yapping.
now, but I mean, if people are tuned into average banter, hey, we're not, we're not average people. The banter might be average, but it's coming from above average folks. So,
Well, I have every faith that you and I will be able to make something of this
oh, we're
conversation.
going to, of course. Yeah. No, I mean, even if it's by episode 7, I don't care. We need the practice.
Exactly, right? Okay.
Nope.
So,
I got to get my
I've
lighting right. I got
been
to figure out how to get some glasses that aren't going to glare as much. I will say your angle,
totally.
your framing today and everything is perfect. So,
Oh, good.
on
Okay.
point.
So the pillow on top of the chair is working. We love
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I have, this week I got all of my Meta accounts suspended, taken away. I just woke up one day and I no longer had access to my Facebook, my Instagram, or Threads. And I love Threads. Like I've been on Threads for like
Wow.
3 years,
What did you
like since the beginning.
say?
Um, so I went to go through the appeals process, right, which is non-existent. Like, it says that you can't, it says push this button to log in, and then you push the button and it's like, nope, you don't exist. Like, you've been deactivated. You have 177 days or something like that to reactivate your profile. I finally was able to click and find out that my profile had been suspended for sharing child nudity and sexual exploitation videos. Like, it had been flagged for that. Now, the only thing that I've ever posted in that situation is a list of pedophiles, right? Every time a new Christian pastor or like youth
Oh,
pastor comes out with like a court like
how do you keep
allegation of
up?
like so and so. What's that?
I said, how
I
do you
have a
keep
pretty
up?
long list.
No kidding.
That's where I keep it. I keep it on Threads, right? Like, that's where I keep the list, right? Like, I'm just like, hey guys, just in case you want to know another one, right? Like, and they always look the same, and they always, there's a pattern, right?
Yeah.
When you see them all in a group like that. So like, it was so wild to me that, like, somebody reported some comment or somewhere, something on the internet that I made that got all of those three kind of major social
Mm-hmm.
media apps taken out of my grasp forever. That I mean, I've had a Facebook since like 2009, maybe
Mm.
2008.
Sure,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all the friends, blah, 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 right, all that stuff, right? Just gone one day, or on Tuesday. I just woke up without it, essentially. Um, and I was like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. Like,
Yeah.
like, now they cut it off. Now I don't have it, right?
Sure.
Now I don't have to worry about deleting it. Now I don't have to,
Yeah.
now I can be
The
intentional with my
decision's
social
been
media
made for me. Yeah. Yeah.
for me.
Are you
And
going to appeal or are
and
you just going to
my
create some new accounts? What are you going to do?
I'm going to take a 30-day break from
Sure.
anything anything new because I
Yeah.
miss threads. I do love threads very
Yeah.
much. But and I had, I was getting up to the point where I was getting like 350,000 views every week. So,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
it was not any kind of like important what I would say, but just that people would notice it,
Well, that's the archive is like that it freaks me out. So I had a photo from back in
Mm,
2014. Like I woke up, it's so funny, like just kind of the same thing, but like it's 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe I've lost track of time. When I don't have a job, it's all one big, huge, long day.
it is. Yeah.
It was a random notice where it's like your photo has been removed for policy violation, and then it kind of fell to the same exact categories. I think it's kind of a big umbrella, but it's like going back to 2014. I was not sober back then, and I guarantee you, like, I wouldn't have posted anything like that. But I'm just thinking, like, maybe
No,
it was like a picture of my kid in the bathtub kind of thing, because I've heard stories about that. Either which way, it did take my breath away for a second, because I'm just like, God, I am at their mercy with so much of like the archives of my entire existence and because I've had my Facebook since 2004.
right? Like
Like,
you're talking 22 years,
yeah,
right? Of
yeah,
location data, like
literally,
stuff
it's
you want,
insane. Yeah,
you
I mean,
know.
like,
Well, and the idea of losing it is like losing a part of you, like a
there's certain things
non-physical
that
part of you,
only
right?
unfortunately exist in Facebook world when it comes to certain videos and whatnots that I've posted. It's true.
Or yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I had poems that I would type and only put on, certain platforms, or like, a pretty killer meme collection, right? Like, but really what I miss about the engagement with the people that I had connected with.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
but the
well, okay.
idea of like no longer having meta in my life anymore, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like it felt like it was significant in a way, and like I shouldn't just rush back out there and create a new email
Yeah.
and like be like, guys, they kicked me out, it's not fair,
Yeah. Well,
right?
that's certainly out of your
Like,
control insofar as like you didn't make that decision. So yeah, clearly a little bit of a nudge was involved there. Huh. Interesting. Cool.
yeah,
Well, you're a
I know.
writer.
So yep, I figured it's time to write. Right,
Oh
like
man, let me see if I can
get
find
off
it.
the
I'm gonna do a screen share on something. Let's see if I can see. Do. So that answers my question that you didn't see my post.
nope,
Um,
I did not.
I'm gonna show you this real quick. I think I can bring it up on screen share. I went on what I called a little bit of a midlife shopping spree, and I'm not calling it a midlife CRISIS anymore. It's a midlife
Good.
transition, midlife whatever, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my.
Threshold.
There you go. Um, let's see. Here we go. What? Da, da, da. No, I want you to show. No. Screen. Current entire screen. Boom. Let's see. Let's try this again. Bear with me, folks. I know I can do this. Oh, well, I guess I just did. Well, maybe you can't. Can you even see it on your end? Do you see the picture I'm
Mm-mm.
sharing? Oh,
Nope.
well, folks at home can, and I will send you the link right after we're done with this. Um, anyway, I have a stack of books that I got that I'm just like straight up ready to tackle this thing of being a human head on.
Ooh.
And so I've got like the phenomenon of man, man and his symbols, the Republic by Plato, the Master and His Emissary by Ian McGilchrist. Oh, and one was funny because you said, "Oh, this is really what reminded me of it." Was earlier you were talking about you were stuck in the loop, and I'm like, "Oh, that's the title
Yeah.
of a book I got," and one of the books is "I Am a Strange Loop," and so
Nice.
I'm gonna take that
Yeah.
off the screen. We're gonna come back to this. There's a better way to do that. I know there is, and I'll figure it out. Oh, I know what I needed to do next time. do one of those, and then it's a floaty window. Oh, okay. All right. We're good. Learning as we go.
Nice. You figured it out?
I did.
Good.
So writing and reading. Yeah.
Yep. Gonna have to do both. Yeah. It's amazing how many times I go to check it and then it's not there.
Right? The phantom limb of social media. 100%.
Habitual. Pull your phone
No
out of your
kidding.
pocket, go to like 2 seconds. Nope, not there. Now what am I gonna do with this 2 minutes of my time?
You know, the
Like
most
think?
ridiculously compulsory thing that I do with social media and my phone in general is I will literally close the app, flip the page, come back, open the app, close the app, flip the page, close the app, open the app, close the app, open the app. Like I will, as if just like
Yeah.
closing it and refreshing, it's gonna like, it's like they say that it's the same principle, and they say this with dating apps too. It's the same principle as like, you know, the gambling machines where it's like, okay, just one more lever pull, just one more, and I it's like the same thing where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna one more refresh. One more refresh. Don't want to miss what might be the latest and greatest. What if they're posting it right now? Don't want to miss. Like, jeez
Yeah, there's
Louise.
some sort of like human behavioral thing at work there,
Yeah, the
right?
book's being
Like,
written. I'm
isn't there?
sure. 100%.
Oh yeah.
It's very
Yeah,
compulsory. Like
probably.
I find myself like saying, okay, put it down, and then like literally I will like pick it up within 2 seconds, having just said
Oh
I'm done, and
yeah.
be like, and then forgot, and be like, oh my god, you said you were done. Stop. Like, just
Right. But like, I mean, I'm neurodivergent and my brain gets a little
right.
hit of dopamine every time I go to look for it, right?
That
So
is
it's
it.
like
There's the yeah,
a little like ding, right? And
100%.
and
100%.
that and the idea of just like I have 2 minutes while I'm waiting for this next thing to happen. Well, the pizza's in the oven, while I'm
Hmm.
waiting for it to be done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
It's like the micro spending of my time, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, what would I do for 2 minutes? Like pace around the room? Like that's kind of where I'm just sort of like
Yeah. No, I saw something recently. I saw something recently that I can't remember if it was like an article in the Atlantic or if it was someone's Substack or something. Either which way though, but there it was about boredom and how important boredom is to brain development and to just us as an overall person. Like boredom is actually a part of the diet, and so when we don't allow ourselves to have boredom and to like, I'll throw
what
my
does
partner
boredom
under the
feel
bus
like
a
to
little
you?
bit. Well,
Yeah.
right? Like my partner is a good example insofar as he is never not playing a video on his phone ever. Like even from walking from one room to the next room, the time it takes to walk from one room to the next room, like there will be a video playing of something, whether it's just some YouTube reels or whether it's Dropout TV, which is the most recent favorite. There's always something. And sometimes it can bother me, but I have yet, and I don't think I ever will unless it comes up for another reason. I haven't brought it up or said, "Hey babe, why are you always," because like I can already tell that is like space that he is always occupying in a way that is almost very pacific.
Hmm.
It's a pacifier of sorts, like
There's a
to
comfort to
it's
it.
it's
Yeah.
it's the bridge that that makes the transferring from one room to the other like it's almost like the looking forward to those few moments of listening to the video are the dopamine chase that it takes to convince the body to move from one room to the other. Like, oh, I can listen to this while I'm doing that. Oh, I can listen. And I used to do the same thing with my walks with my dog, where it's like, I finally stopped putting earbuds in, and I stopped listening to stuff when I'd go on my walks with Abby because I could feel that I wasn't getting my download. I wasn't having my, I wasn't having my daydream. My daydreaming
Yeah.
wasn't happening because boredom equals daydreaming. You know what I mean? And like really, they're
Mm.
kind of, they're very like, even when there's no like getting lost in the thought or whatever, boredom is what like indicates
Yeah.
that there is room, or even like a siphon, if you will, to a degree. Like, oh, some space, some silence. Like you
It's
can.
definitely the in between,
It's
right? Like,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in between the task you just finished and the task you're about to do, right? Like, so I
Or
guess maybe it's a like
forced
a liminal
boredom
space,
too. Well, I think that
right?
it could be a liminal space, and it's so weird that that's not a word I've used a lot, liminal, and now it's like popping up in different adverts on my Facebook.
Yeah.
People actually advertising these little sauna spaces in Portland, like
Hmm.
liminal spaces, and I'm like, that's not what we were talking about, algorithm.
I would like to go to a limit, like a professional liminal space. Like, what is it? Just like a dark room? Like,
It
what
was
a
trippy. It
do
was all
you
pink,
do
and
you
there was
fall
like
in a trapdoor?
pods with water floating in them, and you can like have your individual
Okay,
pod, and you just like float in it, and there's communal pods, and it was very
okay.
pink,
It was very big. Okay.
very
I
pink.
would not have expected the liminal world to be pink, but maybe it is.
Yeah,
What do I
who
know? Like, I'm not
knows?
gonna judge.
But
Um,
boredom is
I
apparently a
hate
part
boredom.
of
Yeah.
our diet as a person, and
Well,
so
yeah.
it
I get how it's important in respect to creativity, right? Like the whole eureka thing, right? Like you have to, put the brain function on and then completely forget about it and go soak in a bathtub, right? For the rest of
yeah,
it to come.
with Epsom
Like,
salts,
yeah. I think I get how that mechanism works. But like the actually standing there and being bored with nothing to do is like maybe the one of the most uncomfortable feelings I can
right?
feel. Like,
And is it, I mean, one wonders is it because I'm having to sit with myself, or is it because like I feel like that I'm not like important right now or needed, or is
I'm
time
not,
escaping me
yeah.
and this is a little death happening right now? Because I'll tell you, one of the things that I felt when I was in jail a million years ago, and I was like on day 5 out of 8 days that I ended up spending, and it was isolation because it was a domestic violence situation where I broke an empty 40 bottle over my ex's head. He was coming at
Oh,
me with a
wow.
knife, but I'm the only one who actually like had evidence of using a something other than my
Yeah.
hands to and it's assault with a deadly weapon when it's something like that. I'd do it again. Either which
Well, I
way,
believe
it gave me it gave me some time to think.
you.
Gave me some time to think, but that boredom in there, I remember it feeling like, I mean, I don't know what dying feels like, but I just know it felt like a type of like little death. It felt like so, ooh, I don't even know how to explain it. It was scary. It was inevitable. It was like a little slice of understanding like where true madness could possibly come from kind of thing. But at the same time, it was very, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it was like, a lot of that boredom was filled with a lot of like regret and sadness for myself and self pity and everything. But then there were some legitimate moments where it was like, it kind of almost had that like, you stare at the void long enough, the void stares back kind of vibe.
Right.
A little bit, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Wasn't like hearing
Well,
voices necessarily, but like almost to an extent.
I mean the idea of like the endless infinity of time with no purpose. Is that where
Yeah.
the madness comes from?
I feel like that was definitely part of it, where it's just like, could you imagine not having any function, not having any purpose, and it's just like you're just locked in a room, and I'm just like, oh my god, it was just my and even with that, just my imagination just got carried away, just like why like whose life's purpose is served by isolation, right? It's like I don't know. It's so
Right.
weird because even then I start thinking like someone who existed that we never know about, no one will ever know about, who existed in a state of isolation. What purpose does a human's life serve if it was never witnessed at all? That's just so weird. And does it even happen? Is there such a thing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know where that thought came from, but like, it's definitely a weird one where it's like, wow. So at that point, or would we just go to the microbial level and know that, like, at least on some function, there's like a symbiotic host relationship happening that we just don't even see? Like, is that, you know what I
Well, I
mean?
mean, even if you were like in some sort of situation where you
Totally
grew
random. This is so
up
random.
with no humans, okay, let's
Sure.
say you're in a no
Random.
human, but you somehow might manage to like survive, right, enough to the point where you live, you would still develop relationship and belonging with things. They just wouldn't be human
Yeah,
things,
it's true.
right? Like
Yeah, you'd be like
you
the
would have a
volleyball.
right? Like, well, or you'd be like, hey, the crows would greet you at breakfast,
Oh,
and your
sure.
raccoon buddy would,
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
would go full Disney princess, like in that way, like,
Oh, yeah,
talking to
yeah.
all the animals,
True
you know.
that. So, and
I
the
think,
what it
yeah,
is we are never truly alone.
no, no.
There's a guy I
We're
follow
covered in.
on Instagram and Facebook now. I think Jimmy's Jams or Jimmy Jam or something like that, and he's Jams Germs. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to figure it out. Anyway, he's this guy who films videos of his like microscope slides,
Ooh, like
and you see
the
like,
up close ones. Yes.
yes,
I love those.
fascinating. Like, I find myself like finding places of empathy for those little things where I'm like, you need to be
Right.
witnessed. We need to know what it is you do. We need to know why you exist. We need to know what your function is. We need to, like, I watched one of this thing that, like, when it's fully alive and doing it, it's like it's a total blur, and it's just like
Mm,
all these little functioning parts, and then the caption is like, we're about to see a cell die and dissolve into nothingness, and so then you see the cell die, and then it just stops. And when it stops, all the little fibers that were previously this big blur become like super clear. And the detail of the fibers that make up all of the little like moving blades on this, like, I don't even know if it was a moss or a an algae type organism. It was a single cell organism either way. But like, the detail of the hairs on this microscopic organism had me tripping, like thinking, we need to witness that. Like, we need to know. Like, I'm a better. This is so random and out there, but like, I'm a better person for having seen that image. I'm a better person. I'm a more learned person. I'm a more comprehensive of the micro versus macro. Like, if we could all, like, it could be a part of basic ABC 1 2 3.
understanding.
This is like your bacteriums, and this is like what a cell looks like when it's alive, and this is what it looks like when it dies. And to trip out on the fact that, like, there is that much detail and design, dare I say intelligent design, because I, like, definitely believe in creator, believe in source, 100%. Seeing how much thought went into the design of something
Mm,
that, like, is hardly ever witnessed and never seen
right,
blows my
right,
mind.
right. Like, I get that, and there's something about the idea of us being able to witness it that is kind of
It's almost like
interesting.
it's almost like an entire, well, I suppose this is true for a lot of science, but if I were to really oversimplify it and have a duh moment, it's almost as though human advancements waiting for human discovery. But it's like there's a level of understanding of existence that's withheld until we can see all of existence. And it's like when we finally reach a threshold where we can actually really, like, for each level of power of lens that was added to the microscope as discoveries and as the ability to create lenses that could go even deeper were discovered and made,
Hmm.
so was like the overall universal expansion of man's comprehension level. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, our brains get bigger the bigger, like, we can think about, we're constantly. there's not really a limit there. But being able to see something like that and for it to impose something on you or to move you in some way, it's kind of cool, right? And maybe that's all the meaning you need from it. I don't know. Like,
I think it's really an amazing thing to recognize that there is no such thing as a wasted resource when it comes to Earth and the universe and cosmos. Like, we have what we would consider to be waste, and we dispose things and byproducts of whatever. But like when I look at things like the microorganisms and I look at things that go down to like just on the fundamental level, it can almost be overwhelming to realize that there is at any given moment always something functioning and doing something on, whether it's my own body or in the air around
yeah,
me, or like just the simple fact that I had an idea to write a book a long time ago called Byproduct, where I was like
mm,
really going down a rabbit hole of like the God, there's this. I'm so bad with my tangents, but like on Netflix, there's this show called oh God, what is it called? Scavenger something. Oh gosh, it's a group of scientists that kind of crash land on another planet, and they start seeing the ecosystem work on this other planet and how it works. But it's also an opportunity to be like, what if it was like this, and what if it was like this, and it goes into so much minutia of this eats that, and then that eats this, and then this eats that, and then that eats this, and it's like the old cartoon where it's like you see the fishes that come along, it's like, and then the little fish gets eaten by
right.
that fish, and then that fish, and it's like never ending, and it's like a Russian nesting doll of like of existence where it's like there
Of
is
interdependence.
well, and then truly understanding, like if you were to use the Russian nesting doll analogy, like if you were to keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going, like then you start getting out like the toothpicks, not the cute toothpicks, but the tweezers, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids
Hmm.
on a micro level where it's just like it just never ends, and there's always something that's consuming that, that's consuming that, that's consuming. But then the other thing was like tripping me out. I'm like, well, then there's always something that's secreting that and secreting that and then secreting that. And it's like there is no wasted resource. And when it's no wasted resource, it's like again the source, all seeing eye, whatever. It's like there is a witness to all of it because on some level there's just not a single thing that's being wasted. There's not a single thing that isn't being watched out for. It's like, oh, my turn to eat that. Oh, my turn to eat that. And even watching some of these slides with like the microscope, like you think you're seeing the smallest thing on the slide, and then along comes something even smaller. And then you go down there
Hmm.
and I'm like, well, that thing's got it something smaller. And then of course you start getting atomic.
Right.
I have no
Right.
idea if you're wondering where I'm going with this, I don't know. I've lost
Well,
all
okay.
tangency.
What I hear you saying is number one, we are never alone, right? We're never alone. Like number two, we are way more connected to the micro and the macro than we think we are. Like kind of our human and our basic kind of human understanding is that we're the top of the food chain, apex predator,
Yeah,
alpha
yep.
male, blah blah blah, right? But the truth is that we are infinitely connected in both directions to the stars and the universe and the stardust and the tiny microorganisms all at the same time, right? Like both of those exist into infinity at all times. And we're curious little people.
Yeah.
Like we want to know. We want to know why does it work like that? Like we're
Yeah.
we're curious little animals,
Yep.
like,
Yep. And I know
I don't know.
one of the thoughts that flew out of my head earlier that I was trying to get to was that even with the on the microscopic level, like everything does have like a shadow, you know?
Sure.
Like there's like you can sit there and just stare at an organism slide and like start to develop, like metaphor and analogy for existence in general. And it's just so weird how there's just not a single thing that you can't almost turn into a metaphor. Like it really is all connected. Like that was one of the things I was telling this kid this morning,
Right.
talking about. I was like, dude, I know it's a little cliche when it comes to mindfulness, but a lot of that stuff, because I was listening to some of the drugs that he had done, and I was like, I've done all those too, and I know exactly what the feeling is you get from that. And I'm telling you right now, you start tripping on all of the veins and the network system that goes into that leaf and what makes that leaf do what it do and what's that and the other, and you will like literally start to feel the buzz, you know. And it was just like, the connectedness is also the evidence, which is also the testament, which is also the medicine, which is also the reminder, which is also like it's the
Yeah.
question and it's the answer.
Right, right, right. Well, I mean, and essentially what we're proving is that the world is an abundant place, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
earth that we live on is the source of all life, and it's an abundant place. Like it
Yeah.
is wildly abundant.
Yeah.
Scarcity is an invention.
It is.
Like,
100%.
you know, and I don't know how we got to from microorganisms to here, but it makes perfect sense to
I
me.
don't either. And one of the things that I definitely know we'll do next time is we're going to actually go ahead and decide what we're
Pick
going
a
to talk
topic.
about.
Right, I know.
But at
I
this
know.
point, we're keeping our muscles exercised, and we're not going to let a week
Right.
go by without at least recording something. And if it's just conversation,
Because
I don't care. That's fine.
it's a practice, right? It's a
Yes, it is a
practice. Yeah,
practice.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Practice.
yeah.
It's a practice. I do want to ask you about your baby in the bathwater thing though.
Oh, sure.
I want to hear where this, because you've kind of, I know there's a speech in there somewhere and I want to hear it. Yeah.
Baby in the bath. Well, so initially, what happened for me is that when I was at a place in my ministry with the church down in San Francisco, um, going back 22 years ago, I got the answer from source insofar as how my prayer went one day was I was really just kind of tired of I was tired of being gay. I was tired of fighting against being gay. I was just over it. And I had my shaky fist to the heavens kind of situation where I'm like, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, you are God. You're like all powerful. Like, you are fully capable of taking this away from me. Like, you can take, like, what's up? Like, I have so dedicated my life to you. Like, I have made myself a fool for you. I've absolutely, you know, all the things that you're supposed to do. And the simple little answer
So
was
weird.
like, you're right. The simple answer was just, you're right. I can do whatever I want. And so how about that? And it was just like this aha of, oh, so you're saying that this is who I am. And this is like, you did make me this way and this, that, and the other. So like right off the bat, even coming out of the closet was prompted by source pushing me out of the closet. Like I was trying to tell God how to do their job by demanding to be healed, quote unquote, and demanding to be normal. Like I was stepping in and saying I knew better than creator of all of the cosmos insofar as so that I could fit into the club. And Cosmos said to me, we don't need that. We need you the way we made you so that you can like get people out of the club kind of thing. Of course, I
Yeah.
wasn't getting like specifics like that, but it was definitely
Well,
like, no, no,
you don't know how it works out later, right?
right?
Like that's the benefit of hindsight. Yeah.
But in that moment, the initial even coming out of the closet was prompted by source, and so right off the bat, I of course immediately was like, I am a gay Christian. And in that moment, my not throwing the baby out with the bathwater was like, I'm not gonna just like reject church just because I know church is about to reject me. Like I'm about to say like, nah, I'm gonna do it better than you guys and show you how to even be a better Christian. Um, and ultimately, each time it was time for me to strip away another layer of the dogma and the religion part of it. It was divine intervention every time. And so I say that because like I was never running away from religion. I was never running away from my faith. Um, I had already had too many experiences with divine intervention, spiritual encounters. I I am a spiritual intuitive seer. Like I still practice, not as much as I used to, but once upon a time I would have called myself a prophet in training, because I went to prophecy school and I learned how to lay hands on people and pray in such a way where you just let imagery drop in, and again, 1 + 1 = 2. The exact same principle applies to anybody who's got the gift of seeing. Is like, don't try to make it make sense, only say what you see, don't get in the way of flow, blah blah blah. It's meant to edify, it's meant to lift each other up. And so in the church, I was operating in spiritual gifts, is what we call them. We've got spiritual gifts that you operate with. And so I had too many like legitimate, like, whoa, I feel that. Did you feel that? Yeah, I felt that moments to be like, there's no God, and just go like full atheist. So each step of coming out of the closet and of deconstructing the dogma was prompted by moments of finding me where I was. So what came next was a friend out of nowhere just giving me a book to read after I had come out of the closet. First person I called was my ex-wife, who, being the mother of the kids, like she was like, okay, I need to know that she's going to be cool, or else this is going to be a problem. Because if she's cool, then nobody else matters to me. And so I did. I called her and I was just like, I just got to let you know, like, everything. I'm going to throw this out there for anybody else who might need to relate to this. But one of the biggest cliches about coming out of the closet for me is that I had just finished watching Brokeback Mountain. And by the end of that movie, when he's in the closet just hugging the empty t-shirt that's hanging there because they never really got to actually be together, and this marriage over here and that marriage and the closetedness and then the forbidden love, I sat there and I was like, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. I am not. And I had already had the marriage. I already had the 2 kids. I was like, I'm coming out. I am coming out. I am not going to wait. I'm not going to waste my life. So I called her, told her. Her first words were, "You have no idea how happy that makes me." So I was like, and then she goes, "I've wanted to call you so many times and be like, come out already." And I'm like, oh my God. And so that was a big, huge relief. But I was definitely still holding on to my religion and my faith. And I think at the time too, that was the only way that I could have felt comfortable or justified in doing any of it, is because I definitely knew what I knew to be true. Like, as far as like the spiritual experiences. And so there was no way I was just going to be able to walk away from all that. And the next thing that happened after coming out was my friend handing me a book by Rob Bell called Jesus Wants to Save Christians. And that one really helped me start to build the case that I'd always felt when it came to Christians not being Christians, and like the institution of Christianity being the furthest thing from like how the first quote unquote church was, and what the gospel was, and all of that stuff. And Rob Bell would continue to be, and a lot of people either love or hate him, because he's either like the heretic that has basically been like one of the forefathers of the deconstruction movement, for sure. I didn't know that that's what was happening at the time, because that word deconstruction didn't come up for me until actually after I got sober, which would be fast forwarding several years. Because when I came out of the closet, I wasn't like a full on alcoholic or anything like that yet. I definitely was a drinker, but I hadn't really like started drowning in my sorrows quite yet, because I was still on a high of coming out and stuff. But I definitely was a drinker, and my first partner was really great, and he kind of watched me like lose my faith slowly in the church. We were in a car together, and he's like full on atheist. Obviously not together anymore. This was like over 20 years ago. We used to listen to NPR, and we're listening to an episode of This American Life, and Ira Glass has a guest on. His name's Carlton Pearson. And the name of the episode was called Heretic. And I had heard like the intro, and I had heard of Carlton Pearson. Oral Roberts University is well known amongst the charismatic Christian echelon of Christian education, future Christian politicians, future evangelists, future ministry in general. Oral Roberts was a minister. Carlton Pearson used to sit under Oral Roberts, and these were like huge names in the church, huge names, big names, like up there with like Billy Graham and the likes. He's talking to Ira Glass, who we all know and love on NPR, This American Life, about this one night he's at home. Carlton Pearson, this guy, well-known gospel singer, amazing gospel singer. He has a full-on, just beautiful career. Also a pastor of like one of the biggest churches in the country. And it's almost like as cliche as my Brokeback Mountain moment was for like inspiration to come out of the closet. He had something similar happen to him where he was like watching one of those Feed the Children kind of like infomercials. And it was like, disdained bellies, little children in Africa and all these little, black babies with their disdained bellies. And Carlton Pearson was a black man, bless his heart. He passed away a couple years ago. And so there was like an extra just tenderness to the whole situation because all those Feed the Kids, it's always just a bunch of black babies. And he was just sitting there next to his beautiful little black daughter who's just a baby herself. And he's looking at the screen and he just kind of has this father moment where his father's heart has the ultimate aha connection to what father, mother, parent source is. And just has this moment where he's like, you cannot tell me that there is some little kid that's going to die from starvation or even a teenager who's going to die from starvation, or let's just say anyone who's in some secluded remote part of middle of nowhere BFE Africa who never had the missionary show up, never had the gospel preached to them, never had the message. And it's kind of a cliche scenario, but it hit him in such a way that resonated because it grabbed his father's heart. It grabbed the realism of his own daughter being right there. And I had this myself because my own kids, as I'm listening to this, were at the time 4 and 1-ish and like just really young still. And he just absolutely had a full on, there's no such thing as hell. There's something that is just not resonating. It doesn't jive. It's not landing. I just know that there's no, and it sent him on this whole discovery of even shaping his sermons and everything around like there's just like love is love is love. And what Jesus did on the cross, now mind you, in this situation we've still got like the cross being what the cross was and salvation still being what it is and all this stuff, but he's like what was done once and for all, etc., and nothing more we can add to it, nothing we can do to take away from it. And then he goes into like, full on, like, this is what the original Greek meant. And this is what the words that were contrived into being used as the words for hell and damnation and wailing and gnashing of teeth. And then after total invention. And in fact, even some of the scriptures that were used where Jesus is the one talking about a certain place where there's wailing and gnashing, there was an actual location in their physical world at that time that was well known for being a place of outcasts and dead bodies and this, that, and the other, kind of like a forever burning pit of like, just think of like a dump, if you will. And it was known as that place and it had a name for it. And he was like, it'd be better if you were there than being someone who just, all that to say it was an invention. And it landed in me exactly where it was supposed to. I mean, because this show was happening live on the air as it was happening. So like, it was one of those things, I wasn't listening to a replay or whatever. It's like we were in the car at the moment when the show aired and poof, next thing I know, that's the message I'm hearing. And within just a few weeks of hearing that show and it landing in my heart, Rob Bell released another book called Love Wins. And Love Wins has like since become like almost an LGBTQ mantra. But back then it was Rob Bell, and I'm pretty sure him and Carlton Pearson had like some conversations, and I know that they knew each other 100%. But Carlton got excommunicated from the faith as a heretic because of his stance on hell, and his last days were as someone who was considered to be a heretic, excommunicated, Not in the Mormon way, because there's hardcore, but in general, like there's still excommunications that happen, even if you want to call it cancel culture. Like it was essentially Christian cancel culture. And then Rob Bell wrote his book
Well,
called Love
yeah.
Wins, and Rob Bell's book broke it down. Broke it down like, this is where the concept of hell came from. This is how it's been used and misused and abused and this and the other. And then that was kind of like the final straw for me when it came to recognizing that thing that I've said multiple times, where it's like religion is constantly the thing that puts a price tag on something that's free. And when it came to rejecting Christianity, and not only rejecting Christianity, but we talked about how sometimes we're so in sync that it's like, wait, did I make that happen? Like when I got sober after just going through my dark night of the soul for all the other reasons that I needed to, and coming out the other end and still coming back to almost the same place where I had left off with this love wins kind of discovery, and then finding
Hmm.
mindfulness and finding Thich Nhat Hanh, and reading this beautiful book called Going Home by Thich Nhat Hanh about Buddha and Jesus being brothers. So good. So good. And it's really a collection of talks. But ultimately, not just rejecting Christianity, but calling for the dismantling of Christianity, calling for it to be recognized, the damage being done, that there's nothing good that comes of it. There just isn't. And there is a lot of the deconstruction movement that breaks my heart, because the rejection of the spiritual experience as being something that was psychosomatic, or something that was only being influenced by just being around a bunch of people, and kind of
Mm.
fully just stepping
Hmm.
into full on atheism, and full on. And I love atheist people. They're some of the most nice, reasonable. They're more Christian than any Christian I've ever met. 9 times out of 10, full on. But there is still something that's missing when it comes to the inherent knee jerk rejection of anything that remotely presents as spiritual. And there's never going to be
Well,
truly any full healing without full balance. And so I know that part of one of my missions, if you will, in being able to kind of like have specific conversations that speak a specific language that people can really, really remember and identify with, that have maybe thrown the baby out with the bathwater or are considering it when it comes to the deconstruction of religion, is that don't let them steal your birthright. Don't let them steal your inheritance, because they aren't the ones who gave that to you. They're not the ones who gave you the 1 + 1 = 2, and they can't take it away. So to think
right.
that one equaled the other, it's really hard, because when there's that much
Yep.
hurt and pain associated,
Yep.
like when I first got together with my partner, and I would say the word God, like literally, he's like, can you just like pick a different word? Like that is how cringy and guilty by association even just the word God is, when it comes to the hurt that's been inflicted by the institution of the church. And I
Yeah.
I don't know what the full answer is. I know for me personally, I'm stubborn. I'm really stubborn. And so when it comes to holding on to what I believe to be true and letting go of the other stuff, and like, I still speak in tongues. I still speak in tongues on a not fully regular basis, but I would say at least like once a week. And for me, that's a
Like
perfect
in the
example.
shower or something?
Oh
I'm
yeah, no,
sorry.
absolutely. Straight up. Well, like in
When?
moments of inspiration, or in moments of like
Mm.
wanting to kind of like well, calm myself down. Like for instance, like if there's like something like um you know, my dog's pissing me off, or just wanting to calm, I can call on what I know is a math equation. Like it's a part of my spiritual diet as a spiritual person. Like we are, and that's the other thing, is like when you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, it's like, imagine that we always have two minds, two hearts, two stomachs, right? We've got our physical stomach and our physical heart or whatever. And if we try to live just only as what we consider to be just a person, and we think that spirituality is all the woo woo stuff, there's no separating the spiritual person from the physical person. We are a spirit embodied in a physical avatar. There's no getting away from it. Like, it's
Right.
literally like, it's like saying that you're hungry and trying to feed your own stomach with it's like you're expecting the stomach to feed itself in a weird way. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to explain it. Like, well, no, there's
Yeah.
got to be a better way to explain it. I'll figure it out. But there, you can't reject spirituality. Like, you can verbally and mentally, but you create disease. Then you've got this just like
Mm,
unfed, unnurtured kind of spiritual carcass that's just like living in your body that is growing stagnant. That's just waiting to be reanimated, and everybody has it. There is, and that's the thing is like everybody's born with a brain. Everybody's born,
mm-hmm.
like with the exceptions, of course, scientific exceptions of like, everyone's born with two hands and feet. And we're, we wouldn't be animated as a person without our soul. And so our soul is like, it's a non-negotiable part of our person. And throwing the baby
Yeah.
out with the bathwater when it comes to rejecting spirit, um, is scary and unhealthy, but also like it's denying the world of its true superheroes. Like there's a whole class of people that are waiting to step into agency and power with full scientific understanding, with their science brains, with their calculating brains, with their just in the dirt and fully embraced in reality brains that just all they got to do is just acknowledge that spirit part of them that is always ready to be fed, always ready to feed too. That's the thing. It's like the moment you start feeding your spirit person does what it knows how to do best, which is create the aura, create the field, create the vibration that then sustains. And it's just like
Yeah.
I was never
You're talking about the essence. Yeah.
well the ether,
Yeah.
the essence, the waves, like one of the things I love about the analogy of the waves, Thich Nhat Hanh says it in the Going Home book, where it's like, you know we are the ocean, and the ocean expresses itself in waves, and at the peak of a wave up here, this person thinks for a hot second sometimes that they're just like a person, but they're just at this part in the wave. Like, we're all the ocean, and the ocean peaks in all these different spots and expresses itself in all these different ways, but ultimately it all comes back to source. And so there's
Yeah.
that disease that creeps in when we try to reject. It's like it's not like letting a dead limb live and go like sepsis on you, but there is a type of, if you don't feed it and you just let the carcass stay in you and it just lingers in you without any kind of attention, there is a type of spiritual sepsis that starts to develop, like almost like an infection. And that's what I see happening with bitterness that comes without addressing like the inherited spiritual birthright we all have. When that gets tossed out and that baby gets tossed out with the deconstruction bathwater, instead of an
I get that.
empowerment comes like a just a full on like anger and bitterness and resentment versus the sense of wanting to
I
reach
don't,
back and grab more.
I mean, because in my own
You're
spiritual
losing
journey, I
light,
went
by the
from,
way. I would be remiss if I
I'm
didn't
sure
tell
it's
you.
getting dark. That's okay. Nobody needs to see my face. I think that I wouldn't call it a disease. I would call it an absence of, like the phantom limb. You know, I would call it a thing that is there that's never acknowledged, right? That you're just like saying, I can't see it or prove it or perceive it, so ergo it doesn't exist. Like you've slammed a wall down in your mind saying that, like, I don't believe anything past this flag in the
Yeah.
ground, right? Like it's you stopped essentially
Yeah.
in your own words, right?
Mm-hmm,
Like it's just
mm-hmm.
a place where you stop, you know and anytime you stop, you get stagnant, right? Like
Yeah.
and when you stop moving around like a amazing microorganism, you die, right?
Yeah.
Stop twitching and you die,
But there
like,
are things that do
you
grow
know.
in stagnant water, though. And that's kind of
Well,
where
sure.
I see
Oh,
the
yeah.
infection that comes in. I hear the
Well,
phantom limb thing, but I don't think we give our spirit person enough credit. I don't think that it's as polite as we think that it can be. I think our spirit person is a little bit more demanding than that. And this is just kind
I
of,
think,
it's a little bit hypothetical, but I also feel like that when I have experienced some of the more just really just uh, I don't know, tumultuous, fucked up moments, I can look and be like, oh God, like I've definitely been like not feeding my spirit soul person, because I think I get this feeling that it's a little bit more, well, like I said, demanding. I think that when it gets stagnant and when it's not touched and it's not fed and it's not addressed, I think it actually kind of sabotages us a little bit. I think it kind of like almost reaches into our future and kind of tries to create things that are going to force us to possibly maybe recognize it again a little
yeah,
bit.
I could definitely see that. Like either creating circle, like escalating habits in your life that are to the point of,
Like, look,
you
you think
hitting
you ain't
rock
gonna need me?
bottom,
I'm about to show you how
right?
much you do need me.
Exactly, right? Well, and like the first step in like the traditional AA recovery process is admitting that there's a higher power,
Yeah,
right? Is that you are not the answer to, like all you don't know everything,
yeah.
right? Like it's it's that there and I've always seen that as like not so much an abandoning of like your own agency, but more of like a
We should.
relief,
I'm
right?
gonna use this video and the end of it to remind me what we're gonna talk about
Okay.
on the next one, because I think we should. I'd love to come in there and let's start with the baby in the bathwater again with the next time. But I'd love to
Okay.
address what you just brought up when it comes to the higher power, the agency, and some thoughts I have on that. I don't think it's coincidence that you just brought up AA, and I don't think it's
Probably not.
coincidence
I
that
mean,
we're going to end on the higher power and agency, because yeah, I think, and I really love your. I'm so used to kind of um, talking to people who don't have anything to say back when it comes to these particular topics. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so you can
yeah.
almost, I don't even want to mistake myself for being the quote unquote smartest person in the room, right? Because I liked you making me have to think about the disease part of the spirit person if you leave it alone. Because I'm like, well, maybe it is more phantom limb, but I'm like, I think there's a little bit more of a, it's going to get us whether we like it or not kind of thing. And
Oh,
I'd like to, I want to
I
peel that back a
definitely
little
agree
bit.
with that. Yeah, I definitely agree that it will get you whether you acknowledge it or not, right? Because even in the scientific brain, like even the people who are the most scientists of scientists, like they're like Mr. Scientist or whatever, like right, like I have all the credentials and I have a big telescope and like I am as sciencey as it gets, right? Even those physicists understand that at the very edge of our understanding is quantum, right? Like it
Yeah.
is all things all the time. Like it is spiritual, right? Like, and we are just happen to be the humans at the point in time when all of the information is available to rocket around inside our tiny brains. So our shiny tiny brains. I still think we should call this shiny brains.
I like shiny brains.
But anyway, well, I like being on the Buddy Raspberry show too because that makes me feel kind of important.
Ah,
I'm
well, I
on the Buddy
appreciate that.
Raspberry,
We're just gonna keep doing
right?
it. We're gonna keep doing it and
Yeah,
keep throwing our bread on the
it's a
water.
practice. Yep, I will. Well, the thing that I really needed to hear today, which I really am very appreciative to you for, is the part where it's like, don't give away your birthright. I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
hardest part of what I'm doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of this process, it will be all mine.
Yeah.
It will
Yeah.
be all mine. I will have purged out the people who don't want to be here, who hate my guts. We had to fire the guy who was causing massive problems. Like, yes, this is crazy, but at the end of it, it's gonna be all mine. And then that was the whole plan. Like, this is what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like there's more to this is then it's fun, right? It
Yeah.
gets to be fun. because it's yours and you're collaborating and you're
And it's
like
integrated and you
making
get
and
to keep
growing
it.
and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just at the stage where I'm still weeding the garden,
Yeah.
and it's not.
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, even
It
when it comes
is.
to
It
building a
is.
foundation, that whole like having to dig
Yeah.
down before you can build up kind of thing. It's like when you're envisioning a size
You know.
skyscraper and all you see is like a hole in the ground. It's like, oh my God. Like,
Right.
good grief.
Right. Like you're panicking,
Yep.
right? Or like
Yep. Yep.
well, and again, there's that like it's only me, and who else is here? Who else is going to help me with this? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, so and some backstory. They like my employees have this whole like Discord server, like a group chat, right, where they talk about
Oh
their lives,
no.
right? Which
Yeah.
is great, except for the people who have a certain story about the way that things
Uh-huh.
go,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they have created an online kind of an online narrative, right? Essentially. And I am the villain. I am the worst
Well, of
person
course,
that has
because you're the
ever
boss.
existed in the entire planet. There is nobody worse than me.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And so totally, and it's like there's a part of me that's just like, this is protected speech. Like they can do whatever they want. It has nothing to do with me. My best thing to do would just be ignore it, pretend it doesn't exist. And there's still a part of me that's like, motherfuckers, man.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I'm a person,
Yep.
right? Like you have a 50-person group chat, like
Yep.
spending 8 hours a day documenting reasons why I'm a terrible person, right? But like, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
some
I
of the
mean,
things
I
I'm
know
going
that you
crazy.
know this, but I'll remind you, you are so above that. Like that is just like
I should
that is
be.
the
I have to
gum. That is
remind
the gum
myself.
underneath the sole of your shoe right now. Like, and when
I
it comes
know.
to,
I know.
yeah, yeah,
And the last perpetrator is gone. There's maybe one more. So,
yeah, you
and
got to get
they've
the
just
flies out of the ointment
self-deleted.
for sure. Yeah,
They have self-deleted. They have just been like, nope, no, I haven't had to do anything. They've just like consequenced themselves out of
that's
my
what
life.
happens when you just maintain your agency and you maintain
Exactly.
it's like no weapon formed against me shall prosper, mf'er.
Prosper. Right, exactly. But they're finding that out right
Yep,
now
yep.
the hard way.
Well,
And
good for
it's,
them.
and it's getting vicious. But I appreciate you listening to me, and it's probably getting dark, so I should
Well,
probably
yep,
wrap up.
you're officially becoming difficult to see. So I think
Good.
it's
I
perfect
will
timing.
merge into the
Yes,
blackness,
fade to
like into the
black.
void. Right, exactly. Back to the
Uh,
void from whence I came. Yeah.
well, all right. That concludes this rant and rave, and I've enjoyed it.
Woohoo!
Thank you much.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
We will be
Yeah,
back. We'll be back for sure.
we
So
will,
to anyone
and we'll have
who
a
is
topic.
diving in, keep coming
Yeah.
back. And before we leave, one last thing. What are you listening to right now? What music are you listening to right now?
Vampire Weekend.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like old school, like country club rock. Yeah, yeah,
I'm still
and
tripping
just
off
a
that.
straight up dose of the '80s. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I'm still tripping off
Mm-mm.
that Daddy Died video, by the
Oh,
way.
nice. Yeah.
The only other time a music video kind of like hit my nerve the way that one did. Do you remember that "This Is America" by
Childish Gambino.
Channel? Yeah. Oh my God, such a good
Mm-hmm.
song, such a good video. That one kind of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool. 2 solid music suggestions before the episode's over, and I think that's good. Oh, what are you reading right now? Are you
We
reading
did something.
anything?
I am not reading anything.
All
I
right.
am doom
I'll ask you again
scrolling.
next time. Doom
Yeah,
scrolling. Hey, that's
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. I should be reading, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of
Well,
in
you're in your
between
meta jail,
series.
so
So.
while you're in meta
I
jail, you might as
know.
well.
I'm never coming out. I'm never coming back. They can't make me. I'm not doing it. Right?
Well, they'll have to
We'll
come
see
here to
how long
find
I
you
last.
then.
Exactly.
All
Right?
right.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.